And hello, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Welcome to another road story. My name's John. I've been playing in bands for about 15 years. And this is a little series of stories where I'm taking some of the incidents and tales that I've accumulated through playing in obscure bands that no one's ever heard of. And hoping that I can entertain you with them, because I like listening to musicians' stories. And I hope you like listening to some of mine. And today, we're going to talk about sex. Now, I'll be honest with you, when I first got into the whole band business, it was basically to meet girls. I'm 15 years old, I'm zitty, I'm full of hormones, and I'm at an old boys' school in North London. And, opportunity to meet the opposite sex is very slim. And I had a mate whose brother played drums in a punk band, and we went to see them at a local youth club, because I was doing a youth club gig, and we were amazed that, there were girls there, and they were hanging around the stage chatting to the band. And we thought, if you want to meet girls, let's form a band. I can play a few chords on the guitar. Old Dave, his brother plays in that band. He knows a bit of drums, so he can use his drum kit. And there's a bloke in one of the other classes plays bass, and Rob Pitts is a good singer. So basically, we formed this really naff punk band called Spaghetti. And Mouldy Spaghetti, that's right, shit name, shit band. We only ever played about twice, and we were crap. Never met any girls doing it, but at least it kind of got me in the music bug, which I'm still doing. Sort of like that was 1979. It's now 2022. I'm still doing it. But I have had a few encounters with the opposite sex over the years, and I'm going to try and keep these PC, and I'm changing names as well, so we'll leave it at that. Okay, first encounter, band I was used to being called Strange Institution, and we were a kind of metally, Dokken-esque kind of heavy metal band. We did quite well for ourselves. We played all over the country, had a fair following. But after I left, the band changed its name to Osmium and went on to a bit more success and supported people like Paul Diano. When I was with them, we supported bands like Loud, etc. But we had a good time. Anyway, we had a couple of guys in the band were students at the time. One at Bristol University, one at Bath University, and through one of the student people that we knew, was doing postgrad work, postgrad studies at Reading. We hit this arrangement where we were going to go up to Reading, stop at one of the Hall of Residences at Reading University, play a couple of gigs around Reading, and have a good time. Well, we went up, we stayed at this Hall of Residences in Reading, and played a couple of gigs, one of which was at a place called the Agincourt in Camberley. Now, it's a big pub. Used to have bands on and then rock disco at the end of it. We went on, played our set, went down okay, and packed our gear away. The disco started, and it was going to go through to about 4 in the morning. The ale's heavy. I was a bit of a drinker back then, and got absolutely pissed. Couldn't remember anything about the evening. Woke up the following morning, back at the Hall of Residences, and Ed's going, and I'm wandering around trying to get a fag and a coffee, trying to get my head together. And these guys come up and going, "Here, guy, last night, John, last night, hey. What the bloody hell's going on?" After about the third one, I asked him what happens. Well, apparently, I can vaguely remember dancing with this girl at some point during the evening. Can't remember anything else apart from dancing with this girl. And apparently, near checking out time, the guys came out of the club to find me up against the side of the van with a lady kind of on her knees. I'll leave the rest up to your imagination. Woody Woodpecker impersonation, maybe. And I can't remember anything about it. Until I went to the bog, checked the old John Thomas, and it's got lipstick smeared all over it. And I noticed I've got similar lipstick on my neck and that. And then whilst reaching my pocket for something, I pulled out a napkin with a name. I called her Teresa. It wasn't the name that was written on there, but I called it Teresa, and a phone number. Well, I didn't want to ring her. What do I say? Excuse me, you know, that was sucking me off in the car park. So, I left it for about a week before I worked out what I was going to say. So I rang her up and said, excuse me, you Teresa? Yes. I said, can you remember the Camberley the other night? And it went quiet. And then she said, look, she said, let's forget about it. Fair enough. It was an encounter. Wish I could remember more about it. Now, the second one, there's a couple of other minor ones, which, like I once played at a place called the Spring Gardens in Bristol. And again, strange institution this was. And I'm rolling around on the floor doing one number, as I used to. Not dynamic frontman shit, they used to call it. Well, these bikers went, pile of women! And every woman in the pub got picked up and dropped on top of me, leaving me with a big pile of female flesh pinning me to the ground. I still have dreams about that. And like I said, I mentioned the other day about when we was Alien Stashing, we were playing over in Casbah at the Battle of the Bands competition. Some drunken Welsh ladies were saying, who's got the best breasts? Could you like to judge? And they were flashing their knockers at all the musicians. So, these things happen. It's rock and roll. And I have got a small collection of knickers that have been thrown at me out of various crowds over the years. Stuck in a bag, stashed away somewhere. Just souvenirs. Now, the second incident goes back to a later band I was in, a band called Beowulf UK. Bit of a hippie kind of gong-esque, bit of a punk vibe as well to it. And we were playing at a place called the Westall Tavern, I think it was, over in Bath. And there was a girl at the bar, and I'll call her Susie. That's not a real name, but I'll call her Susie. And end of the evening came. We were packing the gear up. Me and her are getting on like an house on fire. And she asked me, would I like to go back to her place? Why not? I'm in Bath. It's not miles away. It's 7 miles. There's trains and buses getting back to Bristol. So I'll say my goodbye to the band and go to head off with her. Now, our keyboard player at the time lived in Bath, and he comes up to us and said, watch her. And he's doing that. I'm too drunk to notice. Go back to her place, and let's just say, this was on a Friday night. I left there on Sunday. We didn't really get out of bed much. It was a good time was had by both, put it that way. And we swapped numbers, and it was like, she phoned me up in the week and said, would I like to go back over again? So a couple of days later, and I had a couple of days free, I went back over. Idiot that I was. And once again, good time was had by both. Then, as I left her, I said, I'll tell you what, I said, my next couple of days off work, and we haven't got any gigs or anything on, I said, is next weekend. Come over to mine. Because say me coming over to yours, head over to Bristol, we'll have a night out in Bristol, and you stop at mine for the weekend. Okay. So she told me when she was going to arrive. So I'm there, and I'm trying to get a nice cup of tea ready for her and a bite to eat. Knock on the door, open the door, and she's standing there. But not only is she standing there, it's her and some bags. Now, not just the kind of one bag you would have if you're going away to spend the weekend with your boyfriend, or some, weekend of casual sex. This was kind of like half her flat packed up in suitcases and trolleys and this, that, and the other. Because she decided she wanted to move in. Third time I've seen her. And it was like, Anyway, I turned around, I tried to be as nice as I could. I said, look, this isn't practical. I had a very small bed set. I didn't even have a double bed. I had a single bed, but, but for anything like that, I used to have to kind of make mattresses up, padding up, and cushions up on the floor for anything involving the old, beast with two backs. because the bed was too rickety to shag on. And I said, look, this isn't all this practical. This isn't very practical. I said, what? I said, look, stay the weekend. I said, then, you know, we'll carry on seeing each other. And if after a couple of months it's working out and we're, you know, getting on really well, then we'll think about getting a flat together. Either I'll move over to Bath or, you know, you come to Bristol and we'll find a flat together. And then she suddenly throws a wobbler. She starts screaming that I've been using her and this, that, and the other. And I promised her things I hadn't promised her. You know, okay, I hadn't, you know, sort of like made it clear this is a one-nighter or this is a weekender or whatever. But, you know, I thought these things were just developing naturally, you know. And I did quite like the girl. You know, had she not gone weird on me, you know, maybe something could have made of it. But in the end, I turned around and told her to piss off. And she goes storming off. And the next band practice, I mentioned this to the keyboard player. And he goes, I told you she was a weirdo, didn't I? Apparently that was her track record. He had a previous encounter during one of his previous bands. But that's that. Anyway, next one, we're going to move on to alien stashed in related material now. And the we played at a gig called the Spring Gardens. Same Spring Gardens where there was a pile of women. Pub's now Tesco Metro, so sadly defunct venue. But we're playing there. I was single at the time. But, me and the current missus, we had a bit of a break-up for a month or two. And, you know, I'm at the... I'm playing a gig, girl at the bar. And we get chatting. Well, girl, woman. You know, she's not quite my age, but she's getting there, yeah? Not an unattractive lady either. I will call her Denise. Again, not a real name, but yeah. That's what she's going to be called for this story purposes. And Denise we're kind of chatting and getting on great. She gives me a lift home, and we arranged to meet up. You know, at a later date. So a few days later, we meet up. We go out for a couple of beers and a bite. And then we come back here. Now, those of you that have seen some of these other videos on my channel know that I'm a massive record collector. I've been collecting records for 40 odd years. It's part of my raison d'etre. I'm a DJ. It's part of my job. I do radio DJing. I do club DJing from time to time. It's part of me living. It's part of me. Yeah, my record collection is me, and I am part of my record collection. Not entirely, but it's a large part of it. Anyway, she walks in. I go into the kitchen to make us a coffee, and she looks round and she's looking at my record collection, and it's stacked up around several rooms of the house. And she goes, "Oh, it's a bit dusty in here, isn't it?" So I said, "Yeah." I said, "I do try and keep on top of it." I said, "But all this plastic, it's the vinyl, yeah. Oh, it gathers dust. We should get rid of it. Replace it all on MP3." Are you serious? "Oh, no," she said, "it's so outdated." I'm trying to explain to her about the warmth of vinyl and, you know, kind of analog formats, analog recordings and analog formats, digital recordings on digital formats. And yes, I have got MP3s. I've got hard drives full of MP3s, but this is vinyl. And she just wouldn't let it lie. You know, I was expecting some kind of encounter that she had made it blatantly obvious that we were going to have, I hasten to add. But instead, she's slagging on my record collection. And after about half an hour, I turned around and said, "Look, this ain't going to work." I said, "You know, it's our first proper date, and you're trying to ditch something that I've been collecting for 40 years. I suggest you use that door. You know, it's been nice knowing you. Have a nice life, but this ain't going nowhere." So off she goes. And I was that fuming, I picked up my guitar and wrote a song about it. The song's called One Song Woman, and it's on Alien Stashing's last album, Probe. So yeah, I'll link that down below. Yeah, the final little tale I want to relate today. An interesting offer that I had. again, this is Alien Station. This isn't all that long ago either. And yes, my missus does know about this, and we do laugh about it. But we were playing at one of our regular haunts in Bristol, a place called the Thunderbolt, one of Bristol's best venues. Great venue, get a great crowd in there. The landlord, Dave McDonald, really, really knows about music, and he really cares. And he bends over backwards to make the venue a success. And it is a good venue. He gets good bands in, as well as the cream of the local crop and that. Well, we were doing a multi-band bill. One of the bands on the bill was a band called Maori. Now, Morai, that's right. And Morai got a big gay following, LGBTQ plus following, because the lead singer is trans, and one of the other band were gay. I have no problem whatsoever with that. You know, I've always had gay friends, I've had trans friends, I've still got trans friends, and members of Maori are still friends of mine. Although Maori are broken up, they're in other bands now. But Poison Mary, I think one of them, one of the bands that came out of Breaker Maori. Anyway, we do this gig, and we get we go down really well. And it's a really good chilled out evening. People are hanging out, they're chatting at the end of the evening. You know, Dave, when the band stopped, Dave normally has about half hour, 3/4 an hour drinking time. And if it's going nicely and he's not in any hurry, he lets it drag on a bit. So, you know, and he's letting it drag on a bit this night. We're having a few beers and chatting. And anyway, this guy comes up to us. And he's quite effeminate when he speaks. Nice enough fella. But he's basically getting very he's chatting to us, and he's getting very nervous. And all of a sudden he blurts it out. He goes, "Are you a bear?" Now, those of you that don't know, in the gay community, bears are big, hairy gay guys. Well, I'm big, hairy, but unfortunately, I'm hetero. I'm not anti-gay. I've got plenty of gay friends. It's just that, you know, I tried it once and didn't like it. So that was many years ago. And, yeah, I knew which side my bread's buttered on. And simple as that. And he goes, "Oh, I've always wanted to be by a bear." Right, okay. I said, "Well, unfortunately, mate," I said, "you know, I'm not gay. Sorry, mate, I appreciate the offer, but, oh." Well, then he disappears and he's chatting to a couple of people. And about 10 minutes later, he comes back with this girl who was his flatmate. And basically, he's the gay guy. She was his best friend, fag hag, as they call them. And they make me an offer that I'd got to admit was very tempting. Because she wasn't an unattractive girl. I go back to theirs. I can make the beast with two backs with his flatmate. He can watch. And then if I'm really up for it, maybe you can come in and do what that girl was doing in the car park years earlier at Camberley to me. And I'll admit, there was part of me going, this is the kind of libertine rock and roll dreams that you know, people like Keith Moon write about. You know, it's kind of, you know, this is what Freddie Mercury or David Bowie would have sold their souls for. But then reality cut in, and I went, well, I'm in a long-term relationship. My girlfriend's waiting for me at home. Yeah, so I apologised and said, look, I said, if I wasn't in a relationship, I may well have taken you up on the offer, but, you know, I'm not going to do the dirty on me missus. I love her too much, and I still do. Love you. And, you know, but thanks for the offer, but no thanks. And you could see this guy's face, just, oh. And so, you know, I gave him a hug. I gave him a little peck on the cheek. I said, look, mate, you're lovely. I said, and I really appreciate your offer. Had I been single, I said, even though I'm straight, I might have just done it for the curiosity, but, you know, not tonight and not at the moment, you know. And his parting shot was, well, if you break up with your missus, the guys from Maori know who I am. That's a few years ago now. I'm still with me missus, and so if you ever watch this, mate, the offer no longer stands, because I don't think me and the missus are going to be going anywhere separate for a long time, but I still appreciate the offer. So that's a short story about sex and more sex and rock and roll. Try to keep it as PC as possible. I turned around and said, I've never been rich and famous, but it's got me laid on a couple of occasions, and and that's life, isn't it? So that's it for this week. Hope you enjoyed it. Remember, like and comment. I'll leave details ratings stashed in down there. Can't tell you about Beowulf or Strange Institution Museum because they no longer exist, but I'll put the alien stashed in details down there. I'll also mention the radio shows as well. Going to be over that way on Facebook as well, I think. Yeah, that way on Facebook, I think. But anyway, don't know if there's going to be one next week because I've got to go away again with family business, but I'll be back next time with maybe stories about fire. Yeah, burning ambition maybe. But anyway, until then, peeps, I love you all. Thanks for watching. Like, share, comment and subscribe, etc. And I'm out of here. Bye.